Hello! Hi! And welcome back to our blind read-through of Saya no Uta, the Song of Saya. How you doing? The last time we were together, things were happening, to say the least. Our boy Koji went to maybe somewhere he maybe shouldn't be going. But maybe he didn't know that. Maybe he didn't know that. He obviously didn't. And he did some investigating on Dr. Ogai. And we didn't really find out a lot, but we definitely got some clues as to what's been going on in his place. And then at the end of the episode, a crazy bone-chilling cliffhanger that I am a complete asshole for making you endure. But it was a good place to stop. It was like 30 minutes. You're fine. Anyway, we will go ahead. We'll get me on right down, Shaw. And then video game will activate. There we go. All right. And we will get ourselves right back into it. Here we go. I'm not even kidding. This, it wasn't even a jump scare, and it actually scared me. What's wrong, Koji? Yep, that's the proper reaction. Koji whirls around, his light revealing Fuminori's expressionless face. Yeah? Well, I mean, you kind of are, too. Okay. So are you, Koji replies, barely managing to speak over the pounding of his heart. Fuminori pushes past Koji and looks into the bathtub. He doesn't even flinch at the sight of the bones. Uh-huh. Koji doesn't want to believe that the old friendly Fuminori could have had contact with the denizens of this house. I'll introduce you one of these days, he says, turning to leave without even a glance at Koji. I owe her my life.
Oi, Fuminori!
Koji runs after Fuminori. His heart is finally beating normally again. Standing in the entrance, Fuminori glares coldly at Koji over his shoulder. The utter lack of emotion in his eyes gives Koji pause. Koji swallows. What can he say? This is actually a lot nicer than I thought we were gonna get off. Fuminori walks away without another word, leaving Koji alone in the entrance. Up until this very moment, concern for his friend was still at the forefront of his mind. Now, however, that concern is swiftly giving way to a growing sense of dread. Does the Fuminori he knew no longer exist? Was the person who just stared Koji down an imposter wearing Fuminori's skin? Koji has begun to believe that might be so. The body snatchers are about! What a nuisance. Why does he insist on interfering? If he only spoke with me to exchange pleasantries, even I could bear it, but now he's sticking his nose into my business just to satisfy his curiosity. Koji is a perfect example of someone who thinks that it's always good to take an interest in other people's affairs. He probably thinks that he's doing me a favor by prying into my personal life. He couldn't be more wrong. If he keeps this up, I might have to find some way to deal with him. Well, I think you are all, whether you know it or not, you are already very familiar with a way to take care of him. Like Saya said, I have to keep my search for Dr. Ogai a secret. Koji could ruin everything. I didn't have time to fully investigate the Ogai residence today. At this rate, it'll probably take several days just to go through this study. Saya didn't believe that I'd find anything to help its search, but I think there's still a lot to explore. Who knows what I'll discover? The problem is Koji. He knows about the house now. Will he make things difficult? Excuse me, a hair-raising voice calls as I'm about to pass through my gate. Suppressing a shudder, I put on a fake smile and turn to face the writhing mass of rotten flesh that is staring at me with bulging eyes. Of course. This is my next-door neighbor, Suzumi, a middle-aged painter, I think, who spends all day at home while his wife works. I haven't had much contact with him since the accident. Why is he suddenly talking to me now? I don't think you got any issues there. I think Fuminori is very much in move forward with my life, but he's in move forward with my life mode quite easily at this point. Oh. What is this? Did he stop me just to deliver a lecture? Like maybe this guy is aware of the rotting fucking meat smell that's in the house. I have to imagine that's drawing suspicion, not to mention the overgrowth of the grass and weeds. The flesh beast undulates foully as though it still has something to say. The sight of it is driving me close to the edge. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Kind of thought that's why the neighbor was here. No, I think I'd go ahead and take him up on this one. Like, if you want somebody to help with the overgrowth, I think that this guy is it's a good idea. He probably isn't going to be the type to snoop around very much, I don't imagine. Now I get it. He's worried about the unsightliness of my house might diminish the image of his own. Damn snob. I flash a token smile, then retreat behind the safety of my gate. I can feel Suzumi's eyes boring into my back all the way to the front door. Why won't everyone stay out of my life? I just want to live together with Saya, alone, where no one will ever bother us. Suzumi Yosuke sighs in annoyance as he watches the neighbor boy retreat into his house. What's with his attitude? Even while talking, he kept his eyes averted as if to avoid looking at something repulsive. Well, has he always been such an unpleasant young man? No, of course not. When his parents were still alive, he'd been a normal youth. A little shy, but sensitive and caring. The unfamiliarity of living alone must be causing him undue stress. If this continues, he might start to develop some serious mental problems. We might be a little late on that train. Or is it too late already? Yosuke wonders as he gazes wearily at the Sakisaka yard. Even during dinner, Yosuke can't shake the neighboring house from his mind. Oh no, are you gonna meddle? You're gonna meddle, aren't you? You're gonna do that old person thing and meddle, and I don't think it's gonna end up all that nice for you, sir. Yeah, the smell. Like, usually when things start to reek this bad, I've seen it happen in my neighborhood a few times. When things start to reek this bad at a couple of dilapidated houses, I know that the cops were called there, and then they had to call like animal control to go in and pull out like 5 cats that had somehow gotten under a property, got trapped and died, and it created just this really awful fucking smell around the place. So I mean, and being Japan, which I know that like they're very, very, on top of keeping your place presentable, I'm honestly shocked nobody has shown up yet. I'm honestly shocked it took this long for the neighbor to say something. The stink coming from the Sakisaka house grows worse each day, and the Suzumi family is at its wit's
あ
end.
の草むらの中に死んだ猫でもいるんじゃないかしら。でも住んでいて気づかないのかしらね、あの匂いに。
まさかとは思うが、生ゴミをそのまま庭に捨てているんじゃあるまいな。
そんな、いくらなんでもそこまで。
いや、今の様子だとやりかねん。一日中ずっと雨戸を閉め切って何をやってるのかもわからない。
I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that you want to find out. Maybe this is an answer. Maybe this is a question you just do not want answered, sir.
お兄ちゃん、頭おかしくなっちゃったのかな。
Give the kid his gold star.
これヒロミ、そういう言い方はダメよ。
いや、あれは本当にちょっとどうすぎてる。ひょっとしたら品質強か何かかもしれんな。
Not for like he has, but obviously for, you know, like I think that there's a pretty good reason for him to be paranoid at the moment. We've seen things through his eyes. We understand.
大丈夫なのそれ。
早く自覚して医者にでも行ってもらわんことにはなんともな。
The seconds crawl by, each tick of the clock compounding my agony. When I returned from the Ogai residence, I was greeted by a silent, empty home. Saya had vanished without leaving any clue as to her whereabouts. It isn't rare for her to go for walks at night. I've often gone with her. However, such outings always take place in the middle of the night when no one else is around and never last more than 2 hours. Right now, it's 5 in the morning. Soon the sky will begin to show the first light of dawn. Even if she left the night before I returned, she's still been gone for almost half a day. I can't sleep. I can only wait in anguish. I tried to distract myself by painting more rooms, but I couldn't concentrate on the work. If I had known this would happen, I would have left the Ogai house sooner. I wish I hadn't wasted time on Koji. If Saya doesn't return, the thought makes me want to tear out my hair. After its long absence, the terror of true loneliness is too much to bear.
ただいま。
At last, the cowbell chimes, and Saya's long-awaited "I'm home" rings throughout the bottom of the stairs. As I jump out of my bed in relief, all the stress that has built up through the night is released in a wave that threatens to sweep me off my feet.
疲れた。やっぱり往復すると遠いな。
Ah, so tired, Saya sighs as she climbs the stairs. I knew the trip would be hard.
さや、一体どこに？
My question trails off as I notice the thick bundles of papers she's carrying under her arms.
それは。
ふみのりのカルテとか手術の記録。今日は古巣の病院に
You
行って
could
きた
just
の。
get those? Like, did you just claim to be a relative? They usually make you, like, ID for stuff like that. Saya drops her bundles on the floor, sending paper flying everywhere, then pulls her favorite cushion over and collapses into it, stretching luxuriously.
こんな夜中に T 台から歩いて戻ってきたのか。
I think she'll be fine, my guy. Don't you worry.
ごめんね。本当はもっと早く帰れると思ってたんだけど、調べ出したらキリがなくて。
Sorry, she says, skillfully gathering the scattered papers together. I meant to come back sooner, but there were so many files I had to go through.
結局全部持ち出してきちゃった。ああ、重かった。
Okay, she probably stole these, right? Maybe it's just the exhaustion, but I'm not understanding a word Saya's saying.
だからそんなもの持ってきてどうするつもりなんだ。
どうするって、もちろん調べるのよ。うちで時間かけてじっくり。
What do you mean? I'm going to study it, of course, she replies, holding one MRI photograph after another up to the light. I'll have plenty of time to go over it here. At first, I think she's just playing around, but the occasional mutters of, better check this one. Oh, I see.
これは要チェッ
Well,
クか
that
な。
was silly of me, and the likes as she separates photos into growing piles beside her make me think that this might not be a joke after all.
君わかるのか、こういうの。
パパにいろいろと教わったから。 どね。そういうこと。
I learned a lot from Dad. She flashes me a grin, then returns to the papers. So that's how it
これ
is.
じゃあいつまで経っても直せないよ
No
ね。
wonder it can't be fixed.
直せないのか。
人間のお医者さんじゃね。
I can't tell if she's being serious.
私でもまだちょっと難しいかな。いろいろと試してからでないと。
Even for me, it'll probably be tough, she says offhandedly, even as her hands continue to shuffle papers. I'll have to experiment first. Watching more closely, I realize that her eyes are scanning each page rapidly. So rapidly, in fact, that I was unable to notice it at first. Is it possible that Saya, a young girl, is actually reading my charts?
なあさや。
Yeah, she answers coolly, looking up from the charts.
今日はもう疲れたし、寝ないか。
文則がそうしたいならそうする。
Sure, Saya replies with a grin, if that's what you want. Saya tosses aside the papers she was sorting, then leaps on me and begins to tear off my clothes.
おい。
ねえ、寝る前に一回だけ。ね、いいでしょ？
Contrary to her appearance, Saya's appetite for sex would put any adult to shame. You could even say it's a little unnatural. She's not just passionate, she also has unlimited stamina, making me wonder where her slender body gets all the energy from. Never satisfied with letting me feast on her to my heart's content, she always uses me to pleasure herself until I'm forced to tap out. Damn!
まさや、こう毎日続けてちゃ体に毒じゃないのか。
え、文則、どこか具合が悪いの？
いや、僕は別にちゃんと大人の体になってるし平気なんだけど。
Listen, I was told every character in this game is 18 years old. Don't you start.
平気だよ。
She laughs playfully as she pushes me onto the bed, the familiar sweet sensation of her weight and skin rendering me helpless.
平気なわけないだろう。今まで否認もしてないってのに。
To my astonishment, Saya is completely uninterested in safe sex. She just doesn't eschew protection. She even insists that I ejaculate inside of her. Surely she must know the risks, which can only mean that she wants to get pregnant.
文則はさ、
Fuminori, that is the last thing you need, my guy. This is like, if she is trying to get pregnant and like you're going along with it, my guy, this is actually literally the worst idea. Fuminori, she whispers, staring into my eyes. You don't want me to have your children? Maybe he does, but maybe not right now, and maybe not while his brain is a little fucky. But then again, I don't know that he would want you anymore once his brain is unfucky. Those are medical terms, by the way. How can I respond to that? I don't know. I think there's pretty good ways to respond to that. As in, hey, maybe not right now. Hey, maybe we don't want kids right now. Maybe we're rushing into this a little.
いやも何も。さやみたいに小さい体じゃ無理だって。
文則が心配してることって割と的外れなんだけど。
Is she trying to like get some dude's seed to like create like a world of eldritch horrors? Is that what's going on here? Saya seems unsure how to reply, but not because she doesn't understand what I said. Rather, the bemused look on her face makes it seem as though I'm the one not getting it.
でもそれって文則がさやのことを大事に思ってくれてるからなんだよね。それはそれで嬉しい。
But I know you're just thinking of me, she says suddenly, her smile glowing with innocence, so I'm happy. By the time I break the spell of her angelic smile, Saya has undone my belt and is removing my pants.
なおい、だからさや。
大丈夫。じゃあ今夜は文則が心配しないような方法でしてあげる。
One blowjob later.
She looks up at me, answering my confusion by smiling like she just pulled the greatest prank of her life. Ha ha! Gotcha! I sucked your dick! Her small tongue darts out from her lips to lick away the last milky remnants around her mouth. The thought sends my worrying jolt of pleasure to my
それ
brain.
だったら海のりだって心配ないでしょ。
Can't get pregnant like that!
いや、まあ
That's hardly the problem, but I have no idea how to respond.
ねえ、ダメだった？こういうのだと気持ちよくない？
Hearing the sudden nervousness in Saya's voice, I hastily stammer.
そんなことない。十分に良かった。
In fact, it felt so good that I thought I'd go crazy, but I can't say that, can I? No, I think you should. I think she's totally into it, my
で
guy.
もさや、何もあんなもの飲み込まなくたって。
そんな。あれはさやにちょうだいよ。
They can mention it, right? They can mention it, and I don't get TOS'd. I mean, you know what happened here, right? We're all adults. These are age restricted. Suddenly distraught, Saya clings to me like a child who just had her candy
海
stolen.
のりの一滴だって残さずに欲しい。さやの中に出してほしいの。
中にって。
You are in college, my guy! Why are you acting so weird about this? You know what sex is! So Saya really does want to bear my child? I'm not averse to the idea, but I still think it might be too early, of course. But there isn't much point in worrying about my reputation now. Assuming that Saya and I will be left alone, I even welcome it. However, that only explains her appetite for normal sex. I still don't know why she wants to swallow, of all things, during fellatio. Well, I suppose that's what impure or taboo differs from... I suppose that's what impure or taboo differs from person to person, and I can't simply apply normal values to science.
海
No!
のりは、いや。
We are far beyond applying normal values to this girl. It's fine. She gazes up at me pleadingly. How can I resist?
嫌なんかじゃないさ。さやさえそれでいいのなら、僕だって。
Saya smiles with relief and burrows contentedly into my chest.
海のり大好き。
With her body draped over mine, I become even more aware of how light and delicate she is. Can this tiny girl and I really live as husband and wife? I feel a pang of self-loathing at the question. How can I still be afraid after all that's happened? Saya's feelings are so earnest. How can I not accept them? I need to resolve once and for all to rid myself of the useless trappings of morality. Saya and I are all that matters. There's no point in worrying about what others think anymore, although I suppose I should still talk to Saya's guardian, of course. I need to find Dr. Ogai as soon as possible. By the time I drift asleep in exhaustion's comforting embrace, all doubts about Saya's actions have vanished from my mind. Whatever the case, all that matters is that she's returned to me. Two o'clock. For Suzumi Yosuke, this is the most fulfilling time of the day. After seeing his wife and daughter off, taking care of the morning chores, and eating a leisurely lunch, it's finally time to sit down at his easel. He's not a particularly popular painter, and he would only hold an exhibition if he were hunting for money. However, the design work he does on the side ensures that there's always enough to support his daily lifestyle. Alongside the salary his wife earns working for a magazine, they're able to pay their mortgage, send their daughter to school, and still have plenty left over. Yeah, you're making a living. You're doing it right, pal. Yosuke's life is perfect, leisurely and absent of want. He loves his house, considering it a symbol of his success. When he mows the lawn, polishes the windows and floors, and cleans the kitchen, toilet, and bath, he feels the same joys he does when washing his own body. Oh yeah, so he's definitely like, yo man, your shitty fucking house is making my awesome house smell like rancid doo-doo paper. Just as he knows the length of his fingernails at times since his last meal, he also knows everything about his home's condition, the status of every door, and the freshness of every flower, the amount of ice in the ice tray, every last detail. This is his pride, and when he sits in his studio smelling the turpentine and knowing that each element of his house is in perfect order, he feels the ultimate satisfaction. They're setting this up and it almost feels like an episode of Paranoia Agent about to happen. I mean, there's an episode of Paranoia Agent that's kind of similar, actually, thinking about it. While trying to find the right combination of paints for his palette, he suddenly feels thirsty, but soon remembers there isn't much orange juice left in the refrigerator. In fact, it's also about time to stock up on bath additive and powdered soap. He could get everything at the supermarket when he goes to shop for dinner, but it'll probably be quite heavy. Now then, where did I leave off at the shop? Where should I leave off to go shopping? As he ponders this dilemma, he heads downstairs to the kitchen. Just then, a breath of air tickles the back of his neck, bringing him to a halt in the middle of the hallway. A breeze. Impossible. Every window in the house is closed. Yosuke shut them himself during his morning cleaning. Yosuke enters the living room, searching for the source of the breeze. Something stinks. It's the same pungent smell of fetid swampland that emanates from Sakisaka's house. The window facing the yard next door is open, its curtains billowing loosely in the gentle breeze. There's a hole in the glass next to the lock. It looks strange, like it was melted by some chemical instead of broken. Someone must have reached through the hole to unlock the window. Yosuke stands paralyzed, his heart pounding with anger and fear. He listens carefully but hears nothing. Perhaps the intruder has already finished his business and left, but a burglar wouldn't have left the room untouched, would he? Maybe he heard Yosuke coming and hid somewhere nearby. Yosuke realizes his still wet palette knife is in his right hand. He must have forgotten to put it aside before going downstairs. He stares numbly at the knife for a moment, then decides that it is not enough protection. Instead, he grabs the ashtray sitting on top of the table, made of thick, solid glass. It is big and heavy enough to serve as a weapon. The home that he thought was a part of himself now seems utterly alien. Keenly aware of the thumping of his heart, Yosuke looks around the living room and sees little that could be used as a hiding place. The intruder must have gone either to the guest room or through the dining room and to the kitchen. Oh boy, got a good feeling about this. The kitchen is close to the stairs. If there had been movement, Yosuke would have noticed it and when he came down, which means that the guest room is the most likely place. He shuffles over to the guest room door and prepares to slide it open. What is that stench? Could the breeze alone carry something so foul? It's as if the odor is coming from inside the room. He readies his ashtray and throws open the door. The straw-matted Japanese-style room is empty. There's a closet, but no one could fit in there. So the intruder already left. Yosuke relaxes, the exhaustion of sudden relief coming over him. And that's when something seized his ankle. Uh-oh! I think somebody's about to get taken to the meat dimension! The instant he freezes in shock, his leg is yanked from under him, sending him crashing to the floor. Stars explode behind his eyes as his head smacks against the door rail. The hand, if it could even be called that, wrapped around Yosuke's ankle, extends all the way back beneath the living room sofa. There are barely 5 centimeters between the sofa and the floor, but the intruder is able to hide in that tiny space. It can't possibly be human. Before the screaming, Yosuke can regain his footing. Countless hand-like appendages seize his arms and legs, rendering him helpless. That is exactly the voice that I think anybody wants to hear when they are being told to not be scared. That is definitely the voice that is not going to incite fear whatsoever. A hideous voice burbles at his ears. Something cold and soft crawls atop him. Yosuke can't even scream. His terror is so great. Similarly, I don't think that anything that has this voice telling me that something won't hurt, I'm not trusting that shit. I'm sorry. Then thin tube-like appendages penetrate his ears and nose, wriggling deep into his skull. Right before the sensation drives him mad, Yosuke loses consciousness. Oh darn.
お時間を取っていただいてありがとうございます。
Alright, so that is gonna be where we call things. I think I think it's more than think at this point. Our girl Saya, she busy. She is a busy little bee. She is oh boy, she is doing her thing. And well, I mean, I guess you don't have to worry about, you know, the neighbor snooping about your yard anymore. That's certainly probably not gonna be a problem anymore, so at least there's that. Anyway, that was pretty fun, so we will be back here again next time. Thanks for joining me. We'll catch you next time. Have a nice whatever it is for you. Bye.